This was not the work of amateurs. At 12:40 this afternoon, as she was leaving her home in Lurgan, the car bomb gravely injured Rosemary Nelson. Firemen had to cut her free before the medics could treat her.
This is a dreadful attack, a disgraceful attack on a very well-known local solicitor, a mother, a member of the community here in Mid Ulster. We would appeal to anyone who has information or saw anything suspicious in the area of Ashford Grange or Lake Street to contact the detectives at Lurgan RUC station.
She died shortly after at Craigavon Hospital, a married woman with 3 young children. Rosemary Nelson represented the Catholic residents on the Garvackie Road in nearby Portadown, and for this, and for representing Republican clients, she'd suffered numerous threats from loyalists and police officers, as Channel 4 News reported a year ago. One lawyer, now taking action after allegedly being assaulted by police during last year's marching season, believes her life is in danger because of police threats, even though only a small part of her practice in Lurgan involves criminal cases.
Well, I think anybody who deals with these politically sensitive cases is subject to this treatment. It's an ongoing, concerted, systematic series of complaints or series of threats which are issued by police officers.
A leading international lawyer publicly underlined Rosemary Nelson was threatened by police and loyalists alike.
There were some allegations of that nature, and I think a recent one in connection with Ms. Nelson's case was a glaring example of such form of threats, and we were quite concerned about her safety.
Mrs. Nelson was part of the Garvackie Road residents delegation which met Tony Blair, who today called her murder a disgusting act. People nearby said there'd been a large security presence in the area and questioned how the bomb could have been planted, but it seems to have been attached to the vehicle whilst Mrs. Nelson was away on holiday. Inevitably, parallels are being drawn with the Belfast lawyer Pat Finucane, who was shot dead by loyalists 10 years ago. The possibility that he was set up by British security forces to be murdered has never been fully investigated. The London solicitor Gareth Pearce, who's also represented Irish Republicans, was a friend of Rosemary Nelson's over many years.
There are absolutely fundamental international norms that are meant to apply to defence lawyers, and whoever defence lawyers defend, they should not be equated with causes if they're unpopular causes, and she ought to have been protected. It would have been known that she was at risk.
Rosemary Nelson was in the process of prosecuting the police over the murder of Robert Hamill, who was kicked to death by loyalists in Portadown. Only last week this programme talked to her about that murder.
The investigation was wholly inadequate. The family was treated with something less than courtesy.
As it turned out, this was probably the last television interview this high-profile solicitor ever gave. Her usually busy office in Lurgan's High Street, well known to journalists from around the world, is now shut up. People here marched in protest to the RUC station, saying they blame the police for her death. Only this morning, Rosemary Nelson was quoted in a local paper saying community relations in Mid-Ulster are in tatters. They know all about that on the Garvackie Road, where the standoff with Orangemen continues, where tensions are deepening, and where activities at the community centre for the people Rosemary Nelson represented are cancelled tonight.